really need to pay attention to the people that have spoken up about Puff Daddy over the years. Former Danity Kane songstress Aubrey O'Day alleged that Puff controlled her appearance and controlled other things while filming Making the Band when she was just 21 years old. So she got candid about the criticism she faced while working on the MTV reality series that aired back in 2005 alongside Puff, because, well, he was an executive producer. So she says, I look back at the beginning of Making the Band and Aubrey auditioning, and I'm like, I don't know how I became like the face of the band. And now she said this on an episode of the Crisis Queen podcast, and she said like Puff would be on camera saying how much he hated everything, but then he was off camera telling her all the ways she needed to be looking perfect, like down to her toenails, which, like, I'm sorry, sounds a little weird to me. She alleged that the I'll Be Missing You rapper labeled her the looker of the band and once sent her out of the studio because her toes weren't properly polished. She alleged that this was part of the cycle of harm. She said, with Puff, I saw multiple sides of him. She continued in another part of the interview, but I don't know who I was even talking to that was sober. There was always an element of something going on. She once claimed that Puff forbid her from being friends with a certain very big name person whom he was also involved with, and she said that was the first time he had kind of said, you're not allowed to be around that person ever again. She explained that she knew her unnamed friend's experience with the rapper, and she said that was the first time she started to see the dynamics change with just how he approached her on camera. So O'Day was part of Danity Kane until 2008, when she allegedly got booted for not doing what was expected of her. But it wasn't talent-wise, she alleges this was in other areas. She said that on the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2022. After coming off of Puff, there's not many people you can go into a room with and get that type of experience from. That was what she said on the Crisis Queen podcast. I know, lots of podcast appearances, folks. She said, this sort of treatment is a process. You're not just harmed day one. People who do this usually make their victims feel comfortable before flipping a switch. She said she compared it to the military. They break you down and build you back up into the soldier they need you to be for the country they need you to be fighting for. So in April, she alleged that Puffy tried to buy her silence by offering her all sorts of things, and she declined the deal. So good on you for speaking out. One person who has come forward might be able to provide some answers as to why other people are choosing to stay silent. So 50 Cent is not holding back about his longtime rival. He addressed his relationship with Puffy in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter recently. So these two guys worked in the same circles way back in the day, and 50 Cent has explained why he never attended the Bad Boy Records founder's famous parties. Now these are the parties where Puffy allegedly committed some of the heinous acts he's been accused of. So 50 Cent said, I've been very vocal about not going to Puffy parties and doing like that. He said, I've been staying out of that for years. It's just an uncomfortable energy connected to it. He asked to take me shopping. This is what 50 Cent claimed. I thought that was the weirdest thing in the world, because that might be something somebody says, you know, to somebody they want to take out. And 50 Cent was like, nah, I'm not effing with this weird energy or weird coming off the way he was just moving. From that, I wasn't comfortable around him. Now 50 Cent also specifically addressed the 2016 video that emerged earlier this year, the one that shows Puffy attacking Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. So he said, and I quote, first he denied that it even happened, and then the tape comes out, so that means everything that says is a lie. And yeah, originally, Puffy strongly denied the allegations and all the suits against him. 50 Cent continued, when someone watches that, if they have a daughter and they can imagine her being under those circumstances, that is crazy. Like, they let him get away with it. With all the influence and power you have, the person you're with is supposed to want to be a part of your life, not be forced. And also, by the way, 50 Cent is making a documentary about the allegations against Puffy. So I believe, if I remember correctly, Netflix purchased the rights to the doc back in May, and it's called Diddy Do It, which I appreciate a good pun. So 50 Cent did say that the proceeds from the docuseries would go towards victims of SA. Now when asked, like, why are you the person to produce this? 50 Cent said, I'm the only one from hip hop culture that's produced quality projects. We do have a lot of talent within our culture where the talent has developed a comfortability in front of the camera, so they're usually a part of it as an actor or driving force of why someone would watch the project, but not the behind the scenes production, producing the whole project. So there's a difference. So once again, despite the two working very much kind of close together in the early 2000s, 50 Cent has clarified these guys were never friends. He said it was mostly work. I wouldn't call it a friendship because there wouldn't be disappointment between us if we didn't speak to each other. He said there were points where they worked together. Jennifer Lopez actually told Puffy that he should work with 50 Cent as a songwriter in the beginning, and 50 Cent was around at the early stages, and Puffy could have done his record deal at that point. So apparently this happened around the year 2000. But then there was the whole, Puffy following 50 Cent after 50 Cent was, fired at by somebody with a weapon outside of his grandmother's house. That was after the label Trackmasters signed him. So 50 Cent said, "I'm just getting back to work and Puffy would call me to write. I remember my son's mom would answer and I didn't want to get on the phone, like, no, no, no. And she was like, what the F, we need money. She's looking at me like, what? Why don't you want to talk to him? And 50 Cent would be like, I didn't want to ever party or hang out with him. Puff is a business person. When people call him a producer, I see people that were taken advantage of, who produced things that he took from them. He got the credit. He's not a producer. He's been able to take advantage of the business and the creatives in it. I don't have any interest in doing that. I actually fall under the creative. So I just didn't take to hanging out with that." Now 50 Cent has been asked, like, why aren't other celebrities speaking up like you are? He said some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on tape or whatever's not on tape. So they're not gonna say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you've got other people who look and go, well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it. And he said, then you've got a part of our culture that says, that's snitching, or dry snitching, or stuff like that. And he said, it's not uncomfortable for me to say what I said because, well, I've been saying this for years. For like 4 years, 5 years, if not longer. He said, I've been telling you I don't F with him. I don't like the way he be moving. This is a little crazy. Everybody else is not going to be as comfortable as he is saying it. So, why aren't people comfortable saying things? Well, as allegations continue to surface about these parties, turns out anybody who went to these parties had to sign an NDA. And this was like a pretty standard agreement, like you can't share any information related to the disgraced music mogul himself, any of his partners, any of his family members, his friends, and his business associates. You also couldn't photograph, film, or record Puffy or anybody around him without written consent, and it explicitly named social media platforms where you could not post photos or videos of anything without permission. You were also told not to give interviews, write books, or discuss anything about Puffy or things seen at his parties. The NDA seems to cover anything that could get him into trouble. It does expire. Apparently it's valid for the length of Puffy's life plus 20 years or 70 years, whichever is longer. Yes, it's a pretty boilerplate NDA, but the basic gist of it is that if you went to the party, you need Puffy's written consent to share anything. Granted, it hasn't really held up in terms of keeping authorities out of his business. Look, funny little story from earlier this year, the city of Miami was like, we want our key back. So they gave him a key to the city back in 2015 after Revolt. Remember the whole Revolt music conference? He held it there and they were like, oh yeah. But then earlier this year, when the footage came out, the one of the bad things, and then he got arrested, Miami was like, no, we want that back. And also, apparently Miami Beach once had a Puffy Day. It occurred on October 13th. Yeah, that's not gonna happen ever again. One other friendship we should mention today, Puffy and Ashton Kutcher. These guys constantly praised each other over the last 20 years. Ashton made many an appearance at Puffy's infamous parties. There's photos, there's videos of them hanging out, and like it looks like Ashton was having a really good time. So when asked about the get-togethers, I think this was like a Hot Ones interview, Ashton said, I've got a lot I can't tell. And it looked like he was going through like a Rolodex in his head. He's like, can't tell that one either. I'm cycling through them. Party stories, man, like that was some weird memory lane thing. And well, please do tell them, Ashton. We could do with knowing.
Now, during a documentary about J.Lo and Ben Affleck's love for each other, before they got divorced, we saw how uncomfortable Jen's fame made Ben. Now, Ben admitted to the cameras that he's never been as comfortable flaunting their romance publicly, but says he had to accept it was going to happen if he wanted to make things work with Jen. Getting back together, I said, listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media, he said. Then I sort of realized it's not a fair thing to ask. It's sort of like you're gonna marry a boat captain and you go, well, I don't like the water. He added, we're just two people with different kinds of approaches trying to learn to compromise. Now later in the film, Jen acknowledged that she's aware of Ben's discomfort, but doesn't seem willing to do much to improve things for him. I don't think Ben is very comfortable with me doing all of this, she said. But he loves me, he knows I'm an artist, and he's gonna support me in every way he can because he knows you can't stop me from making the music I made. But then she seemed to have gone too far when she showed people his private love letters to her. Ben was taken aback when Jen shared with songwriters the private love letters he wrote to her to serve as inspiration for her new album, This Is Me Now. Now, Jen had invited musicians into their home and gave them access to Ben's love letters. Later on, Ben says, things that are private I always felt are secret and special because, in part, they're private. When Jen and I broke up before, he said, well, looking back at the end of their engagement in 2003, the catalyst for that was this massive amount of scrutiny around our private life. However, he suggested the couple didn't necessarily share the same viewpoints when it came to having a romance in the public eye. I had a very firm sense of boundaries initially around the press, while Jen I don't think objected to it in the way I did, he continued, and I very much did object to it. Now, the fact that she did all of that knowing he didn't like it is crazy, and honestly makes me glad that Ben left her. When their separation was announced, a Page 6 source said if there was a way to divorce on grounds of temporary insanity, he would. He feels like the last 2 years were just a fever dream, and he's come to his senses now and understands there's just no way this is going to work. And you know what? I feel like that speaks volumes. Ojani Noah was married to J.Lo for just 9 months, but he hasn't been able to stop talking about and exposing the star. During a 2016 appearance on Million Dollar Matchmaker, he dumped blame on his former wife, saying she caused their split, and claimed, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me." Now, after Jennifer tied the knot with Ben in July 2022, Noah publicly spoke out about her marriage. "I wish her and Ben the best, but I'm not convinced it will last," he told the Daily Mail that month. "Jen loves being in love, but she's been engaged 6 times. Ben is husband number 4. I was husband number 1, and she told me I was the love of her life." And you know what? He's got a point there. Now, J.Lo married Ojani Noah in February 1997, but their marriage was short-lived and they divorced later. She then dated Diddy in 1999 after the pair met on the set of a music video, but they later split in 2001. Then J.Lo and Chris Judd tied the knot in September 2001, but the marriage was over by June 2002 and their divorce was finalized in 2003. This was then when she and Ben Affleck had their first engagement and then called it off in early 2004. She then married Mark Anthony in June 2004, welcoming twins Max and Emmy in February 2008. However, they announced their split in July 2011. Then just 4 months after splitting from Anthony, J.Lo started dating the backup dancer Casper Smart in November 2011. They dated on and off until 2016, and she announced her engagement to Alex Rodriguez in March 2019 after more than 2 years of dating. But then they called off the engagement in 2021, and after this she got back together with Ben, got married, and then got divorced after only 2 years of marriage. Now, Noah has done more damage to J.Lo's career though, as he recently took to social media to distance himself from any connection to Diddy's freak-off parties, but claimed that J.Lo was one of multiple celebrities present at them. While we do know that J.Lo has been to Diddy parties as there's photographic evidence, there has been nothing official been put out about her involvement in freak-offs. In a post on Instagram, Noah shared a list of stars who allegedly attended Diddy's parties, one being J.Lo. "I'm not on the list," he captioned the post. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no, never. But my ex-wife Jennifer Lopez, aka J.Lo, did. Ask her. Then there's Chris Olsen. He's an influencer, and he had this bit where he would travel across the country to deliver a coffee to celebrities. Now this would then show him giving him the coffee, and the celeb could use the camera time to promote whatever project they were launching. Now a lot of these videos went viral, but Chris exposed that he had a bad experience with one of the celebrities who he did this with. He was on the canceled podcast hosted by Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield, and he was accompanied by his BFF Meghan Trainor. Tana asked him if he had any bad experiences, and he named someone, but they bleeped it. Everyone on the internet though was able to figure out pretty easily that he was talking about J.Lo. Besides, after he said her name, Meghan said stop, they're gonna know who it is. Now the 4 of them then talked about how a lot of people have had negative experiences with the star they were talking about. Chris went on to say that once he entered the room, the energy was off. He said that her staff understood what he was doing and tried to get her excited about it, but J.Lo didn't really understand the concept or the joke of this video and decided to take over and help him direct it instead of just letting him do what he wanted to do. Now J.Lo is known as needing to be in control all the time, so this description fits her. Now Chris said he didn't want to argue and just let her do what she wanted, but he added that the video didn't perform that well and he knew it wouldn't. And then, based on numerous conversations on his show, Howard Stern has flat out claimed that he doesn't like J.Lo, her music, or how she's acted in her career. Now, because of this, Jennifer has avoided him, but when Howard first got the job as a judge on America's Got Talent, there were a lot of concerned viewers. However, in one of his first interviews as a judge, he tried to make his case by slamming other celebrity judges who, in his opinion, were more focused on advancing their own careers than doing the job they'd been hired to do. Howard said in a red carpet interview with HLN in 2012, "I was critical of American Idol J.Lo because I felt like she never said anything negative, let's say, and I felt like, well, it helped her career. She got very far. Suddenly she got back on the charts and the show was good for her, and it became more about J.Lo." And you know what? He's got a point there. Her judging did help her career. Now, on top of this, Howard has repeatedly bashed all of J.Lo's music and said some not so flattering things about the star. Kim Kardashian is feuding with one of her sisters again. She's been called out by Khloe with her shady Instagram posts as the pair have been fighting on the new episode of the Kardashians. Now, in the most recent episode of the Kardashians, the sisters clashed over Khloe's parenting, with Kim suggesting that Khloe's two kids rule her life. Now, this came about after Khloe turned down a trip to Paris for Fashion Week because she wanted to be home with her kids. Now, last week's episode also documented their family vacation to Aspen, which took place in January. On the trip, Kim called out Khloe for FaceTiming her daughter during their group dinner. Now, Kim again was annoyed with this. Kim said in a confessional, "Here we go again. She just is so stuck on what's going on at home that she can't have a good time," before later describing Khloe constantly FaceTiming her kids as annoying. Several viewers of the reality show have since called Kim out for shaming Khloe, and fans have actually done the math and figured out that Khloe was seemingly shading Kim on Instagram around the very same time that they were quietly clashing. Now, back in January and February, around the same time as the Aspen trip, Khloe shared multiple quotes that are seemingly aimed at Kim. 20 years from now, the only people who'll remember if you worked late are your kids, one quote read. "Raise your children to be impressed by kindness, loyalty, and humility, not just wealth, possessions, and power," read another. Then in 2007, Kim and her then boyfriend, Ray J tape was leaked online, and it's how Kim rose to fame. Now, Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape. In late April 2007, Kim dropped the suit and settled for $5 million. Now, the blame was put on Ray J for releasing the video, but after all these years, Ray J maintains his innocence. He said, "I've sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, he claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Now, Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look. Now, if that's true, that is just gross. Now, Kris Jenner has denied playing a role in getting her daughter tape released and even took a lie detector test on the James Corden show, but Ray J is still adamant that they did help. Now, looking back, Ray J said he is embarrassed of the tape. Now, Kim's whole relationship with Kris Humphries was something else. They dated for 6 months before they got married. Now, Kris wasn't really into all the fame, but Kim wanted it all. Now, their relationship made them a lot of money. The reality star was paid $1.5 million by people for their wedding photos alone. They also got $30,000 for their engagement announcement and another massive chunk of cash from both her bridal shower and her honeymoon pictures. Not to mention the bonus check they got from airing their wedding on Keeping Up. Now, afterwards though, after 72 days, Kim filed for divorce. Now, Kris felt bamboozled and cited fraud as the reason for wanting an annulment. Kim's paperwork stated irreconcilable differences, and she later discussed the marriage on her show and revealed her mother encouraged her to run on her wedding day if she needed to. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told the Los Angeles fraud court that Kim had no intention of proceeding with this marriage. It was basically a tactic tactic for the benefit of her show and to make money. But Jonathan Jackson, who worked with the reality star between 2007 and 2009, said that the pair's union was a publicity stunt. Speaking on Good Day LA back in 2011, Jackson said 2 weeks prior to her wedding, she knew it was not something she wanted to do. Unfortunately, they were obligated to honor contracts with the E! Network, which had TV rights. Otherwise, they would have owed a lot of people a lot of money. Now, after their divorce and sketchy relationship, Kris exposed some of Kim's secrets. Back in 2013, Kris revealed that the proposal for the show was not a surprise and that Kim was aware of it, so the scene where she seemed moved and surprised in is super fake. In fact, Kris went further to say that they had to reshoot the proposal because Kim didn't like her reaction. Kim told Kris how, where, and when to propose. It was absolutely no surprise to her whatsoever, a source told Radar Online. First of all, Kris proposed in the middle of the day, and he had to do that because it would create better lighting to capture the moment. Now, Kim looked surprised but knew it was happening. She was in full hair and makeup, and she's always in on the show. But all of his ideas were shot down by production officials and Kim. Now, another person she got married to was Kanye West. They got married and had 4 children together, and they were happy until things started to go south in 2020. In July 2020, Kanye acknowledged the possibility of Kim ending their marriage, and later that month, he wrote on Twitter that he had been attempting to divorce Kim. Now, he also wrote that the Kardashian family was attempting to lock him up. In January 2021, CNN reported that the couple were discussing divorce, and a month later, Kim filed for divorce, agreeing to joint custody of their children and declining spousal support from each other. The divorce settlement was finalized in November 2022, and after they divorced, Kim dated Pete Davidson, which Kanye did not like, and he took a lot of digs at Pete and Kim. He posted online about it saying, "You are lying and are liars. Y'all basically kidnapped Chicago on her birthday so she couldn't remember her father not being there, so there. Also, I should see my children 100% of the time, but since there's a separation, it should have been 50% of the time. Y'all wouldn't have played with Donda like that in Jesus' name." Now, the Kardashians, for their part, have repeatedly denied Kanye's claims about Chicago's birthday, and after this rant, Khloe commented on Kanye's posts, begging him to please stop tearing Kimberly down, adding that she and her family have had enough of the false birthday narrative. Now, at the 2022 Met Gala, Kim arrived in the iconic Happy Birthday Mr. President Marilyn Monroe dress. Now, Kim said the idea of wearing the late actress's dress felt like the perfect representation of America. She was granted special access to wear it as it is kept in a museum, and people did not like this. They thought it was unfair and in poor taste to take the dress of an icon and have Kim wear it. Now, besides that, Kim revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. She said, "It was such a challenge, it was like a role, I was determined to fit in it. I'd wear a sauna suit twice a day, run on the treadmill, completely cut out all sugar and all carbs, and just eat the cleanest veggies and protein. I didn't starve myself, but I was so strict." Following this, many slammed Kim for appearing to promote a toxic and dangerous mindset about body image and weight loss. She said, "To me, it was like, okay, Christian Bale can do it for a movie role and that is acceptable. It's all the same to me. I wasn't saying, hey everyone, why don't you go lose this weight in a short period of time." Now, her losing all that weight in a short period of time, though, really rubbed people the wrong way. And finally, we have Kim's short-lived feud with Chloe Grace Moretz. In July 2016, when Kim had her own celebrity feud going on with Taylor Swift, she posted her supposed proof on Snapchat of Taylor lying, and fans went crazy. This annoyed Chloe Grace Moretz, though, who tweeted, "Everyone in the industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around and realize what's actually happening in the real world. Stop wasting your voice on something so petulant and unimportant." Minutes later, jumping to her big sister's defense, Khloe Kardashian responded with a collage of pictures. Now, the first picture was of Chloe Grace at the beach, and the next photo was a photo of an unknown blonde-haired woman who she presumably thought was Chloe in the sea, suffering an embarrassing and revealing bikini mishap. Now, Khloe Kardashian captioned the image, "Is this the hole you're referring to? At Khloe G. Moretz?" And Khloe straightaway tweeted back, Fact check, first photo is me filming my movie Neighbors 2, the second photo is some girl who was wrongly photographed. But this feud didn't end there though. In 2016, Kim turned heads for sharing a full frontal nude selfie with only black bars to protect her modesty on Twitter. She captioned the photo with, "When you're like, I have nothing to wear, lol." Then, out of nowhere, Khloe responded to the picture by commenting, "I truly hope you realize how important setting goals are for young women, teaching them we have so much more to offer than just our bodies." Now, Kim didn't take this lying down and replied back, "Let's all welcome at Khloe G. Moretz to Twitter since no one knows who she is. Your nylon cover is cute, boo." Blake Lively has been in some hot water recently when it comes to how she treats people in Hollywood. Now this has all come to light due to her film It Ends With Us. There were reports of drama on set. Now Blake stars as the main character Lily Bloom and is also a producer of the film. She co-stars with Justin Baldoni, who is also the director of the film. Now it's said that there was a feud between the two co-stars that fractured the production, which resulted in the cast and crew picking sides. Not only this, but Blake has also been blasted as tone deaf and shallow after she hosted an interview with her It Ends With Us co-stars, and they failed to discuss the serious message behind the movie. There is no mention of DV during their chat, which is what the movie is about. Then, a lot of people have been coming out and accusing Blake of being a mean girl. A journalist released an interview she did with Blake in 2016 that made her so uncomfortable she wanted to quit her job. Norwegian interviewer Kirsty Flop posted a video called "The Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job" to her popular YouTube channel. Now in the clip, Blake is promoting the movie Cafe Society and is joined by her co-star Parker Posey. This interview happened months after Blake announced her pregnancy, so the journalist congratulated her by starting off the interview with congratulating her on her little bump. Now Blake didn't like this though and mocked her by repeating, "Congrats on your little bump." Now Kirsty was clearly not pregnant and has now explained that she is infertile, so that comment from Blake hurt her even more. Now that wasn't all though. As the interview went on, the two co-stars eventually started ignoring Kirsty and just had a conversation amongst themselves. They completely ignored the interviewer. Now once time is up, both Blake and Parker appear to roll their eyes and pull a face as she leaves. Now other clips have been resurfacing of her being rude to her Gossip Girl co-stars, and it just doesn't look good for Blake. Could this finally be the last nail in the coffin when it comes to her career? Now in her new memoir, Rebel Rising, Rebel Wilson has shown us some insight into her life. Rebel revealed that her Grimsby co-star Sacha Baron Cohen is the previously unnamed Hollywood a-hole that is allegedly attempting to stop her writing about him in her upcoming memoir. He's hired a crisis PR manager and lawyers. He's trying to stop press coming out about my book, but the book will come out and you will all know the truth. I will not be bullied or silenced by high-priced lawyers or PR crisis managers, she said. The a-hole I'm talking about in one chapter of my book is Sacha Baron Cohen. Now she went into more detail saying there were some incidents on set, and she also claimed that she was asked to do reshoots, which made her feel uncomfortable on set. "I filmed the scene after demanding rewrites. I still had to kiss him repeatedly," noted Wilson. She then told producers that she would not be doing any promotion for the film, and she added, "The movie bombed," which to me was karma enough. Zachary Quinto, who's best known for playing Spock in the Star Trek reboot film series, has been banned by a Toronto restaurant after they accused him of yelling at its staff during a brunch service. According to an Instagram post shared by Manita, a cafe and bar on Ossington Avenue, Zachary was a terrible customer who made our host cry and the rest of our brunch diners uncomfortable. They added that he yelled at our staff like an entitled child after he didn't reply to text to inform him that his table was ready, and refused to believe that empty tables in the dining room weren't available for him, despite being politely informed they were spoken for, the post continued. "Mr. Quinto, take your bad vibes somewhere else. We have many lovely celebrities join us at Manita, but you are not one of them." A representative for the restaurant would not elaborate on the incident, but confirmed to the Star that he has been banned from the restaurant until we receive an acceptable apology. Brad Pitt has had a lot of negative press around him recently, as his own children have been speaking out against him and how horrible he's been. Brad's divorce with Angelina Jolie was messy, but now his kids have been speaking up. Their daughter Shiloh filed paperwork to legally remove Pitt from her name on the day she turned 18. Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie Pitt submitted a petition to Los Angeles County Superior Court on May 27th to change her name to Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie, which was then approved. Now Shiloh isn't the only child to drop her father's last name, as in the playbill for the new musical The Outsiders, which their daughter Vivian helped Angelina produce, the teenager is listed as Vivian Jolie instead of Vivian Jolie Pitt, people confirmed. Now at this time it's not clear if Vivian has also legally changed her name, but I think it's safe to assume that she probably will. Not to mention, during last November, while joining the Mu Pi chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority at her university, Spelman College, the former couple's eldest daughter, Zahara, introduced herself as Zahara Marley Jolie, a video showed. Now besides changing their last names, this isn't the first time one of the kids has spoken out against their father. Angelina and Brad's son Pax has expressed his disdain towards his father, as in November last year, Pax's old social media post about his father resurfaced, and it didn't paint a pretty picture of the famous family's dynamic. A then 16-year-old Pax posted from his private account on Father's Day in 2020 about Brad. The message was written over a photo of Brad accepting an Oscar. "Happy Father's Day to this world-class a-hole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person," he began. "You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence," Pax said, referring to Zahara, Shiloh, and the twins Vivian and Knox. "You have made the lives of those closest to me a constant hell. You may tell yourself in the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday, so happy Father's Day, you effing awful human being." Yikes. Now, Kris Jenner is best known for being a momager to all of her kids, and being in charge all the time can cause stress, but Kris took it out on a poor worker. In an episode of the Kardashians, Kris was rude to one of her drivers. Now for context, she wanted to have a private conversation with her daughter Chloe, so she asked the driver to step out of the car, which he did. However, he left his trunk open, which caused Kris to scream, "Close the trunk," multiple times. Now, she didn't even add a please. Chloe then got upset with her mom for yelling, saying, "You're yelling at the effing guy," but Kris yells again, "Close the trunk." This time, Chloe steps in, telling the person off camera, "Excuse me sir, would you mind closing the trunk for a moment? Thank you so much." Now Chloe, frustrated with her mom, says to her, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it." Now everyone made fun of Amber Heard about her issues with Johnny Depp, but actress Lola Golandini had a very similar incident while on set with him. They were on the set of the movie Blow in 2001 when the incident happened. On the Powerful Truth Angels podcast, Lola said the director, Ted Demme, instructed her to burst out laughing in a scene where Johnny gives a monologue. But she didn't know that Ted didn't tell Johnny about this. Now Johnny Depp, when they say cut, walks over to me, comes up to me, sticks his finger in my face and goes, "Who the F do you think you are? Who the F do you think you are? Shut the F up," Lola said. "I'm out here trying to say my lines and you're effing pulling focus, you idiot." She said on the podcast that this was her first day on set and the first time that she met Johnny. "This was my first studio movie, I'd just done indies until then, and I have the star who I have idolized, who I'm excited to work with, reamed me in my face. The only thing going through my head was, don't cry." Then there was an incident he had while filming City of Lies where he got into a fight with the location manager of the shoot, Greg Rocky Brooks. Now Johnny punched him twice in the ribs before yelling at him, "I will give you $100,000 to punch me in the face right now." He allegedly continued to scream and berate him in front of a set full of people until Johnny's own bodyguards physically removed him from the scene. And finally we have Emma Roberts being exposed by her American Horror Story co-star Angelica Ross. Now last year, Angelica provided screenshots of emails and detailed accounts of conversations with Ryan Murphy as he abruptly stopped communicating with her 3 years ago, during which no one in his company, Ryan Murphy Productions, would offer her any information about her status within the American Horror Story franchise. Now Angelica then claimed that Emma could be a bullying presence on set, once going so far as to misgender her in front of a director. Angelica, who is transgender, first spoke out about the alleged incident during an Instagram live. "I'm standing in front of Emma, talking to her like this, and she goes in front of me, her back against the mirror. She goes, 'John, Angelica's being mean,'" she claimed, seemingly referring to the American Horror Story director, John J. Gray. Angelica claimed that Gray then said, "Okay ladies, you know that's enough, let's get back to work." Then Emma looks at me and she goes, "Don't you mean lady?" and turns around like this and covers her mouth. I'm staring at her, looking her dead ass in the camera, and I'm trying to process the F she just said. Angelica said that she feared retaliation if she reported the incident, and she admitted that she no longer spoke to Emma after the alleged on-set encounter. But afterwards, Angelica tweeted, "Thank you at Roberts Emma for calling and apologizing, recognizing your behavior was not that of an ally. I will leave the line open to follow up on your desire to do better and support social justice causes with your platform."
Let's jump right in with Rose McGowan. We're gonna discuss the controversies surrounding Hollywood's prominent figures and their relationship with talk show host Oprah Winfrey. Rose McGowan, an influential figure in the #MeToo movement and star of the Scream franchise, is distanced from this trend. McGowan brought attention to a photo from the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards, which shows Winfrey kissing a disgraced producer in Hollywood. McGowan captioned her tweet with some strong words saying, "I'm glad more are seeing the ugly truth of at Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't," and added that she is supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. "She is as fake as they come, #lizard." This tweet sparked a lot of debate and speculation among fans, with some defending Winfrey and others criticizing her. However, it's important to note that this is not the first time McGowan has called out Winfrey. Now, we all know how relevant Oprah has remained within the industry, so do you think she's part of the problem in Hollywood? I mean, she's pretty powerful. Let us know in the comments below. On to the next, Seth MacFarlane. MacFarlane? I don't know. In a tweet posted in 2020, MacFarlane acknowledged Winfrey's positive influence through her career as a television host and philanthropist, and praised her for using her platform to bring attention to important issues and making a positive impact in society. However, he also expressed his disappointment in Winfrey's frequent promotion of pseudoscience and conspiracy theories on her talk show. He urged Winfrey to use her influential voice to promote facts and science instead of spreading misinformation. This tweet sparked a debate among fans of both MacFarlane and Winfrey. Some supported Seth's call for accountability, while others defended Winfrey's right to her own opinions. Despite there are differences in opinion, both MacFarlane and Winfrey have used their platforms to bring attention to important social issues. Even those who we admire and respect are not immune to criticism and should be held accountable for their actions. Kid Rock. Kid Rock has never been one to hide his feelings towards Oprah Winfrey. As TMZ highlighted before, Kid Rock had a public outburst about Winfrey at his own establishment, Kid Rock's Big Honky Tonk and Steakhouse in Nashville, which resulted in him being escorted out. He tweeted, "Years ago, my team tried to get me on the Oprah Winfrey show. Her team wanted me to list 5 reasons why I loved her and her show. I flatly refused. That's the end of it." Kid Rock hasn't been shy about expressing his feelings. In 2008, he clarified his sentiments, telling The Independent, "Oprah Winfrey just doesn't sit well with me. I don't trust her. Maybe that's because I'm not one of the 150 million women who hang on her every word." Damn. Kid Rock has made his disdain for Oprah evident on multiple occasions. In 2010, he went as far as calling her a bitch during a live performance at the CMA Awards. However, Kid Rock's animosity towards Winfrey seems to stem from more than just personal feelings. In an interview with The Guardian in 2015, Kid Rock explained his dislike for Winfrey by saying, "I don't hate Oprah, quite the opposite. I have a lot of admiration and respect for what she's been able to accomplish in her career. My issue is with the way she uses her platform to push certain agendas and manipulate public opinion." It's obvious Kid Rock believes Winfrey has too much influence over her viewers and uses it to push her own agenda. He also expressed concern over the potential for her to sway political opinions, stating, "I think that's where a lot of people get turned off by Oprah or any celebrity using their platform for political gain." Up next is Seal. Singer Seal didn't hold back his disapproval of Winfrey making his feelings known on social media. Back in 2018, the acclaimed vocalist, best known for his hit song Kiss from a Rose, leveled allegations against Winfrey, claiming she had knowledge of a disgraced producer whose name shall not be named, his actions for decades. He posted a now deleted Instagram photo of Winfrey with said producer with a scathing caption, "You'd heard the rumors, hadn't you? Yet you turned a blind eye to the truth that he was preying on unsuspecting, ambitious young actresses. Apologies for my oversight." He continued, "When you've been a part of the problem for decades, yet everyone suddenly sees you as the solution, #sanctimonious Hollywood." Singer Seal's comments about Oprah Winfrey and disgraced producer sparked controversy and brought attention to the larger issue of assault and harassment in Hollywood. While some praised Seal for speaking out, others criticized him for his harsh words towards Winfrey. This incident also highlighted the complicated relationship between celebrities and their involvement in important social issues. It serves as a reminder that everyone has a responsibility to educate themselves and use their platform for good. The conversation about Misconduct in the entertainment industry continues, and it is important to listen to all voices and work towards creating a safer environment for everyone. So we must ensure that our society provides equal opportunities and safe spaces for all individuals. Only then can we truly progress towards a more inclusive and just society. Up next, Ludacris. Following his role in the 2004 movie Crash, Ludacris, otherwise known as Christopher Brian Bridges, made an appearance on Winfrey's TV program. The intent was to discuss the film, but the conversation took a different turn. Ludacris told GQ she got many of my points, keeping hers intact. It's her show, but we were discussing racial discrimination, and I felt she was challenging me excessively as a rapper, disregarding my role as an actor for the show. He added, "At first I wasn't even invited to the show, it was only the night before when they rang me up to say I could come." After filming, Winfrey and I had a short 5-minute chat. The impression I got was that she believes by hosting rappers, she's giving them more power. It felt like being in a place where you're not welcome. It was already quite awkward. Following the controversial interview, Ludacris received backlash from both fans and critics. Many accused him of being disrespectful towards Winfrey and not understanding the purpose of her show. However, Ludacris defended himself by stating that he was simply speaking his truth and standing up for himself. The incident shed light on a larger issue within the entertainment industry, the portrayal of rappers and hip-hop artists. Many have argued that these artists are often stigmatized and pigeonholed into negative stereotypes, while their talents as actors or intellectuals are overlooked. Jason Momoa. In the aftermath of the devastating wildfires that swept through Maui in August 2023, Hollywood star Jason Momoa pointed fingers at two prominent figures, Oprah Winfrey and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Momoa charged them with, in his own words, stealing money from the poor. This controversy arose from a fundraising initiative that Winfrey and Johnson had organized with the aim of aiding the victims of these wildfires. In the months following the controversy, both Winfrey and Johnson have responded to Momoa's allegations. In an exclusive interview with Oprah magazine, Winfrey stated that she was deeply saddened by Momoa's accusations and denied any wrongdoing on her part. She explained that the fundraiser had been a collaborative effort with Johnson and that all of the proceeds went towards helping the victims of the wildfires. She also added that she had personally donated a large sum to the cause. Angelina Jolie. In an unexpected twist, it appears that two globally recognized humanitarians, Angelina and Oprah, have had some friction. When Winfrey was launching her esteemed project, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, she reportedly reached out to Jolie for assistance. However, according to an insider's account shared with Star Magazine, in 2007, Jolie declined. Winfrey had anticipated Jolie's support given her love for Africa. Disappointed, Winfrey vowed never to ask for Jolie's help in her humanitarian projects in the future. The source also claimed that there might be unresolved issues between the two, stemming from Winfrey's support for Jennifer Aniston during the well-publicized split with Brad Pitt. In recent years, there have been multiple reports of tension and rivalry between Angelina and Oprah. While both women are highly influential figures in their respective fields, many wonder what has caused this apparent friction between them. David Letterman. Many assume the beef between David and Oprah started because of an awkward joke at the 1995 Academy Awards, but according to Letterman, the disagreement actually sparked well before that. In a 2010 episode of The Daily Show, he told Jon Stewart, "The feud predates the Academy Awards. She had a problem with me long before then." He narrated an encounter from a vacation they both happened to be on. Oprah was with Stedman and I was with my then girlfriend Regina. We were having lunch at the same restaurant. I jokingly told Regina, "Let's have Oprah pick up our check," and that's what happened. Letterman convinced the waiter that Winfrey would pay for their lunch. This, according to Letterman, is where the feud started, but Oprah has a different take on the feud's origin. In a 2012 interview with CBS News, she said she felt uncomfortable on his show and avoided any contact with him for 16 years, during which he continuously made jokes at her expense. They've since reconciled their differences. Joan Rivers. In her first national television debut on The Tonight Show in 1985, Oprah Winfrey faced an unexpected blow from the late Joan Rivers. As Winfrey recounts in her book, Food, Health, and Happiness, she was just getting comfortable when Rivers threw a curveball question, "So how'd you gain the weight?" Winfrey was taken aback on her big day with the word fat echoing in her mind. Winfrey explains further that Rivers from behind Johnny's large desk scolded her for letting herself gain weight. Rivers' manicured finger pointed at her, reminding her of her single status and challenging her to lose 15 pounds before her next visit. And finally, 50 Cent. In the 2006 edition of Elle magazine, rapper 50 Cent made a controversial comment about Oprah Winfrey, referring to her as an Oreo. He voiced his dissatisfaction, arguing that while Oprah started her career focusing on the perspectives of black women, she had gradually shifted her attention towards middle-aged white American women to such an extent that he believed she had become one of them. To throw further shade on Oprah, 50 Cent even named his miniature schnauzer after her. However, in 2012, they set their differences aside and had an open discussion on an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter. Visiting 50 Cent at his grandmother's house, Oprah listened as the rapper expressed his grievances about her show's apparent snub of hip-hop artists and her stance against the use of the N-word. The relationship between celebrities and media moguls like Oprah is complex and ever-changing. Some stars have used their platforms to voice their concerns or share their experiences, painting a multifaceted picture of the celebrity life and the media industry.
Starting this list off at number 10 is Brandy. We have seen celebrities fake relationships in the past as a publicity stunt, but this one was one that just went too far. The singer and actress announced back in 2002 that she had gotten secretly married to a music producer, Robert Smith. She said they had a private wedding and kept it small. The relationship went on to be featured in Diary Presents Brandy Special Delivery, which documented the birth of their daughter. Everything seemed to be genuine and normal, but in 2004 the truth came out and it was revealed that the two of them had split. Brandy went on the Oprah show and revealed that they had never actually been married in the first place and said that they lied. She was 6 months pregnant when she had gotten married, and she only lied about it because she didn't want people to judge her for having a child without being married. She ended up using her Oprah interview to issue a public apology. Is that forgivable? I mean, I don't care. What difference does it make? But I guess in the special, the show she had, it was all about their marriage and like baby, and it's like, you're not even married. Coming up next, number 9 is a sex tape. There are plenty of celebrities we could probably have in this category who have made up an excuse or lie to hide the fact that they have made a sex tape. But one iconic example is the time that Kim Kardashian lied about her tape, which is what people say made her famous. In 2007, there were rumors going around that Kim and her then boyfriend at the time, Ray J, had made a sex tape. Of course, she denied these claims anytime she was asked about it during interviews. But then, a few months down the road, the infamous video got leaked and she issued an apology. But some people also came up with the theory that she lied about the whole thing and that she planned the video to get leaked and that it was all a publicity stunt. So, what do you guys think? This is literally one of the biggest debates ever. If she lied, or was this whole sex tape planned? Maybe she did want to get famous off it. Swiping the number 8 spot is the White Stripes. Jack and Meg White were adored as band members in the famous rock band, but people thought they were siblings because that's what they told everyone. Turns out that is not true at all, and they were actually once married. A marriage license surfaced online revealing that they were married from 1996 to 2000. At first, the two of them denied the license was real and kept the whole sibling story, but then it was revealed to be real. Seems like a strange thing to lie about, in my opinion, right? Apparently the reason they lied is because they didn't think they would be taken seriously as musicians if they were a couple in the band, so they just told people that they were siblings and stuck to it. But how awkward would that have been if someone caught a picture or something of them kissing or holding hands or something? I don't know, I felt like that's so risky. Rolling into number 7 is song lyrics. When it comes to songwriting, it's not uncommon for artists to work with other people to help create the lyrics to their song. But taking credit for it is never the right thing to do, and rumor has it that is what Beyonce did for one of her songs. Back in 2008, the Queen was taking credit for her catchy lyrics in her single, Irreplaceable. Now, she did write the background harmonies, but it was later revealed that Neo had actually written the song. He talked about it during an interview and actually admitted that he regrets giving the song away to her. He said, "One song that I gave away and didn't want to is Beyonce's Irreplaceable. I honestly wrote that song for myself." People were actually shocked to find out it wasn't her behind those words, and it was actually one of his personal experiences. Cruising into number 6, we have Lance Armstrong. The wildly successful athlete was caught in the most sophisticated and successful doping program the sport has ever seen, according to the US Anti-Doping Agency. People were shocked when the news first broke, but he later admitted it during his interview with Oprah that he in fact had been taking substances. But there was much more to it than just him taking them. He was involved in a professional doping program. He was stripped from his cycling titles and dropped by all of his sponsors, including Nike Inc. and Livestrong, and he was also banned from professional cycling races altogether. He ended up reaching a $5 million settlement with the government, but his career has never been the same since. In 2020 though, fans got to learn a lot more about the situation when a documentary called Lance came out, so if you're wanting to learn more on his career, the scandal, everything, go check that out. I've been intrigued. I have not, because I'm busy, but I have been interested. Halfway through our countdown at number 5 is lying about a song. We have already touched on the subject of artists lying about song lyrics, claiming to be theirs, but this is a little different. Singer Robin Thicke was called out for lying about one of his songs to a point where a plagiarism lawsuit came from it. In 2012, his hit song Blurred Lines was taking over the radio, and he listed himself as co-writer for the lyrics alongside Pharrell. But then, 2 years later, in 2014, a plagiarism lawsuit popped up when it came to light that the track may have been a ripoff of Marvin Gaye's song Got to Give It Up. Robin then denied that he had written the song and actually put the writing status on Pharrell instead and claimed that he was not the co-writer after all. When all was said and done, Marvin Gaye's estate ended up receiving $7.3 million for the song. So that was an expensive lesson to learn about telling the truth, although maybe it wasn't intentional, you know? Like maybe they didn't mean to rip off the song, but it sounded like it. In spot number 4, we have Brian Williams. The journalist, who is the father to actress Allison Williams, repeatedly told a story that claimed while he was on a reporting trip to Iraq in 2003, he was riding in a helicopter that came under fire and had to do an emergency landing. The story was believed every time he told it, until soldiers who were actually in the helicopter he was referring to came forward and told the truth. They revealed that Brian was not actually in the helicopter with them and said that he and his crew had actually arrived on scene about an hour after the helicopter performed its landing, which is obviously a very different story than the one that he was telling people. After being caught in the lie, he immediately apologized and claimed that he must have made a mistake and gotten his memories of the day mixed up. How do you— come on. Oh, I just thought I remembered I was on this plane that went into flames. Like, give me a break, people. Taking over 3rd place is lying about your age. Let's be honest, it is not only a celebrity thing to do. There are times when someone will lie about their age to get into a club, or maybe lie about their age to feel younger than they are or older. But Nelly's reason was a little ridiculous, and fans couldn't believe he would lie about his age just to qualify for an award. There was an annual list going around for teen people's hottest stars under 25, and it seems like he really wanted to be on it back in 2003. He ended up being nominated as one of the hottest stars under 25, but he was lying to people and to himself because he was actually 28 years old. I don't know how no one caught on to this in the process. Like a quick Google would probably clear that up, but he must have wanted it that bad. Sniping number 2 spot is Rebel Wilson. While I'm sure a lot of people would like to lie about their age, I know I would, you can't really do that when working in the acting industry. In 2015, an Australian magazine called Women's Day published an article that called out Rebel for apparently lying about her age, name, and certain claims about her upbringing. Her initial age was believed to be 29 years old at the time, but the magazine revealed she was actually 35. Also, her birth name is Melanie Elizabeth Bounce, and she apparently did not have the upbringing that she has talked about in interviews. Now, Rebel never admitted to lying, she actually did the opposite. She filed a lawsuit against various publications because many media outlets also claimed that her real age was 35. She never fought against the claims being true or not, but she said that painting her as a liar had affected her career and ability to land roles.
Number 10, Will Smith. Kicking off our list is husband, father, and it turns out ex Will Smith. In season 3, episode 12 of the series, Jada invited her husband Will onto the show so they could speak openly and publicly about the alleged relationship between herself and singer August Alsina during their brief separation in 2015. The singer claimed that he had to have Will's blessing to begin the relationship despite the pair technically being separated at the time and, well, beyond that. Jada confirmed the relationship did in fact take place, but they were on a break. She denies that Will ever gave August permission, but when referring to the situation as an entanglement, Will snaps and makes her correct herself to say relationship instead. While it may have been playful, seeing Will Smith get mad at all after 2022 just brings pure anxiety into my soul. Number 9, Leah Remini. The world of science. It's the gift that keeps on giving. In 2015, Leah Remini wrote a memoir called Troublemaker. In the book, Leah media recounts seeing Jada appearing at scientific gatherings, specifically talking about one instance in particular when Jada refused to participate in a game of hide and seek with Tom Cruise in his backyard. Why does that sound like a dream that I had? When asked on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live for her side of the story, Pinkett Smith said that she remembered things differently and that the game was more like adults innocently playing hide and seek rather than an actual thing. Ramini says that she took this as textbook fair gaming, a strategy with scientific folk where they mock and then unrelentingly discredit critics of their beliefs. On Red Table Talk, Smith explained a series of tweets defending her family and their religious beliefs, and later stated that she actually grew up in a fairly liberal household and was allowed to explore all religions and just kind of chose which ones that she liked for herself. Ramini reminded Pinkett Smith of her high celebrity status, stating that she was interrogated for months after simply asking one member of the crew where the leader's wife was, like not if she was alive, just how she was doing. Things ended civilly between the two, with both agreeing that despite the feud and misunderstanding, that it's never too late to heal. Ew. Number 8. Nick Cannon. TV personality and full-time baby maker Nick Cannon has been open about his disdain for the series for quite some time, denying multiple requests to actually show up on Red Table Talk. After the show's cancellation, Cannon took to Twitter to express his joy, stating that the show was toxic and added that there was too much honesty on a program, saying that he just wanted to mind his own business and asked if everyone else could do the same thing. He also claimed that if it weren't for his involvement with the program, that husband Will Smith would have never even thought of touching Chris Rock's face, but we now know that that's not the case. I understand the hate. Red Table Talk got into too much information territory way too many times to be a normal talk show, and Jada seeks out reasons to bring her family on the air constantly. I'm all for family drama, but maybe not in front of a camera being recorded to share with millions of people, especially got a book coming out anyway. Number 7. Tom Segura. Comedian Tom Segura was one of many celebrities to speak out after the now infamous Chris Rock incident at 2022. Now, I will be paraphrasing the things Tom says, as I don't want to just quote a series of bleeps over and over again. It gets rough. Tom tweeted, "This girl has been bald. Jokes about it or her are fine. It was tame AF. You super sensitive about it? Buy a wig." Boom. Roasted. While Pinkett Smith hasn't herself commented on the posts, many fans were quick to defend Jada and call out the comedian as a bully. Fans of Segura know his style, and he kept to that, responding to the haters, comparing their sensitivity to a certain member of his anatomy, before posting a video of him landing in New York City and stating, "Just landed in NYP, you dusty bald-headed snitches. See you at the show." Personally, I'd love to see Jada and Tom go head-to-head in a roast battle. If we could put that on the air instead of everything that's been on the air, that would be great. Number 6. Gabrielle Union. The beef started 17 years ago, a long time to hold a grudge, but why? Well, they don't really know. Jada brought Gabrielle onto the show to address the fact that despite the two always crossing paths and being cold with each other, that neither could remember what caused the tension. Union called Jada on the phone, and they both attempt to piece together what exactly left such a terrible taste in each other's mouth. They tried and tried, but they could not remember, and eventually Union agreed to appear on the show, where the two just kind of put the past behind them and they laughed it off, chalking it up to the drama of young divas. They had a good time on the show, just catching up and discussing life, and it actually apparently turned out pretty okay. I know this is supposed to be negative, but hey, let's all take a deep breath and just enjoy the fact that there was an okay conversation on that show one time, and only one time. Everything else is very bad. Number 5. August Alsina. Mentioned previously in the list, August Alsina is a rapper and the former love interest of the star of our list, Jada Pinkett Smith. The two first met in 2015 at a concert for Jaden and Willow Smith, and their connection was instant. The two became very good friends, as August was going through some substance control issues at the time, and Smith was this helpful hand that he needed. This would explain why over time their relationship turned romantic after Jada and Will took their brief break from their marriage, but Jada wasn't left alone. August told radio host Angela Yee that he truly and really deeply loved her. That is a direct quote. Unfortunately for August, Jada thought it would be a wonderful idea to bring out her husband Will and air out their dirty laundry on Red Table Talk. August was revealed as a secret lover, but the Smiths say that they reached a level of unconditional love within their marriage. But we all know that they've been separated for 7 years, so that was bull poo poo. Number 4. Jaden Smith. Another member of the Smith family, Jaden is remembered by many as the little guy from the Karate Kid remake, but he's now mainly known for his singing chops and fashion abilities, actually. Jaden has been living in the shadow of his father from day one, being thrust into the limelight before he even hit double digits. With famous parents comes challenges, and one of those challenges seems to be a lack of hugs. The Smith kids are famously left to their own devices and have been financially independent from a very young age, meaning they never really had to ask mom and dad to help buy them something because they just did it themselves. They had the money. They can make that much now. Episode of Table Talk, Jaden confronts his mother on the way he was raised, claiming the style of parenting ruined his life and his ability to connect with people. Jaden has consistently been a good soul in the media and is extremely loyal to his fan base, something that he most certainly didn't learn from his mother. Number 3, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is an American personality and socialite present in the media for years, starring alongside her fellow family members on the hit show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Khloe released a series of tweets a while back claiming that men blaming the women in the relationship for all of their issues was invalid and hurtful. While this is true sometimes, many have called out the star in her comments during a very famous interview from Red Table Talk in which Jordan Woods came forward and told the truth about an alleged cheating scandal. The man in question, Tristan Thompson, claimed that Jordan performed a number of provocative activities, but she denied many of those claims. Despite this, Khloe publicly blamed Jordan for the breakup in her family and names her as an enemy. During all this, Jada Smith just kind of sat back, watched, and laughed while everything was happening, sipping her tea in a red chair. Number 2, Chris Rock. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscars when he decided to make a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. It was a great joke. Immediately following the joke, which landed for everybody else in the audience, Will Smith stood up, walked on stage, and clocked Chris in the face. Now, initially this was seen as a joke between the two, but then Will started shouting several times at Chris to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. It's still burned into my memory to this day. Chris handled the situation well, getting back to the festivities and just kind of keeping the night going along. But then, Will Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor. Rock took to social media to address the controversy and let everybody know that he meant no harm and felt the response to have been highly extreme. He also claims that if Jada had found the joke funny, nothing would have happened. In fact, moments before walking on stage, you can see Will Smith giggling. It's almost like she whispered, "Get him," and then it activated some kind of a destruct code. Jada posted several videos claiming that Rock was dragging the situation out too long and to put the past behind him. "I'm sorry, Smith family, no Ben and Black mind eraser things here. Those aren't real. That was just a movie." It's just a movie, Nate. Number 1, Cherie Zampino. Don't recognize that name? Well, only hardcore Will Smith fans might, because Cherie is Will's ex-wife. Briefly married in the mid-90s, Will and Cherie were adorable together, regularly appearing at red carpet events and movie premieres. Adorable and inseparable. It's cute. But behind the scenes, things weren't peachy at all. It was revealed on an episode of Red Table Talk that Jada Pinkett Smith briefly partook in an affair with Will in 1995. Jada claims that Cherie and Will were towards the end of their relationship and was simply in her eyes dating a newly divorced man. She would later admit that technically that wasn't true, and while Will was divorced hadn't really come into play yet. Cherie discovered what was taking place and went off on the couple, and not long after, ended the marriage. In 2018, the two got back together to speak candidly about the incident on Red Table Talk. Just another one of the terrible episodes that I truly recommend that you don't watch.
In spot number 10 is lying about a crime. Lil Kim's lie was more serious than other ones on our list. She did the unthinkable and lied to a federal grand jury. Back in 2005, she was sentenced to a year and a day in prison and was fined $50,000 after she lied about a criminal case and got caught. Her intentions were good in the sense that she lied in order to protect her friend who was involved in a 2001 that took place in Manhattan. She was called to testify on behalf of her friend and manager, Damian Butler, and she claimed that she did not see him on the day in question. However, video footage then showed that they were together that day, so she was pretty much busted. She ended up admitting to her lies in her own trial, and that is when she was put behind bars. Up next, number 9 is Jussie Smollett. His big lie was one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood in 2019, and it is still ongoing. Back in January of 2019, news articles started flooding with headlines that Jussie was involved in a hate crime after being attacked by 2 men. The reports claim that he was attacked with a rope around his neck and that they poured chemicals on him while yelling homophobic slurs. The two suspects were arrested, but in court they revealed that it was all set up by Jussie and showed a check that he had paid them to stage the entire thing. On February 21st, he was arrested on suspicion of filing a false police report and was charged with 6 counts of lying to police, all of which he pleaded not guilty to. But prosecutors ended up dropping all the charges. However, the Chicago police argued that he got away with it because of his celebrity status, so an investigation was opened and he is now set to head to trial. As of right now, at the time of this recording, reports say his lawyers have been given an additional 2 weeks to prepare their arguments. The tea. Moving on to number 7, we have Kim Kardashian. She has been called out on numerous occasions for photoshopping her pictures, but it seems she took things a little too far in her latest Skims campaign. She released her ad for her shapewear brand Skims, and Kim can be seen drawing a finger over her hips and down into the dip of her waist. But as her finger trails down, it distorts and squiggles across the curve of her body. Immediately, people start calling her out, saying that there was a huge Photoshop fail and that it was very obvious, and questioned how she's selling a shapewear brand if she's going to sell it by photoshopping her body. Kim personally avoided the whole scandal like the plague, but her team removed the ad campaign and released a statement saying it was, I quote, an error as a result of the video losing its quality during the uploading process. No one bought that excuse, which was a straight up lie, because I work in film and I've had videos edited and I've edited videos and I've exported them, and that does not happen, even in the quality of the processing. Come on now. It didn't glitch anywhere else, just when she did it on her waist, y'all. Moving on to number 6 is lying about an injury. Maybe there's been a time in your life that you faked an injury to get out of something, or you made one seem just more dramatic than it really is. Ed Sheeran did this, but we did not find out about it until later on. Back in 2017, he was making headlines after reports said that he accidentally cut his face with a sword during a party. People took it very seriously because they didn't have any reason not to. But then a few months later, the story was confirmed to be a total hoax. During an interview with Shortlist, James Blunt dished out the truth and said, Ed was drunk, messing around, and he cut himself. We made a fancy story up, people fell for it. It was very embarrassing. Embarrassing for Ed because he was drunk and did that, or embarrassing for us because we actually believe that he cut his face with a sword. I believed it. I'm also an idiot. Halfway through our countdown at number 5, we have Kylie Jenner. Back in 2017, people were going crazy online about the rumors that Kylie was pregnant. Fans started speculating online and doing a deep dive on all her posts trying to prove that she was pregnant. Even paparazzi were doing all they could to get a photo that proved it, but she and her family kept denying it in all of their interviews. After she finally revealed the truth to the world, she explained that she lied about it because this was the one thing she wanted to not share with the world. Even her producers who filmed Keeping Up with the Kardashians with her said she hid it from them during filming her Life of Kylie season. But Kylie recently announced she is pregnant with her second child, and she is sharing this pregnancy with the world this time. You can't hide anything from fans. Or paparazzi. They always find out. Up next, number 4 is lying about cosmetic procedures. This one is probably the most common one on our list. Oftentimes, celebrities will hide the fact they've had any kind of work done and claim their features are natural. Like Kylie Jenner, for example. Despite being famous for her Kylie lip kits, there was a time when she was denying having lip fillers done, even though people could see very well that they were done. For years, people were calling her out for having noticeably larger lips, but she always said she was just drawing them bigger with lip liner. Then, in May 2015, the truth was revealed by the girl herself during an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. During one scene, she said, I have temporary lip fillers. It's just an insecurity of mine and it's what I wanted to do. I want to admit to the lips, but people are so quick to judge me on everything, so I might have tiptoed around the truth, but I didn't lie. No, that's a lie. That's still very much a lie when you're denying that you had them done. Earning our number 1 place is Martha Stewart. I'm sure we were all equally as shocked when news broke in December 2001 that she was allegedly involved in an insider trading scandal. Insider trading is where an individual buys or sells stocks that they have in a company using information that is not available to the public. That is what Google told me anyways. Don't quote me. An investigation was launched after she had denied being involved in anything, but it turns out that she was lying. She repeatedly denied doing any wrongdoing, claiming that she had an agreement with her broker to sell the shares if they went below a certain price, but that was proved to not be true. Martha ended up getting charged with security fraud, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy. She was sentenced to 5 months in jail and 5 months of house arrest after that, and 2 years probation, and later had to pay $195,000 to settle a civil case with the Security and Exchange Commission.